I'm sure, like most of you guys listening to this video, over the past week you haven't exactly had much to do. And with the way the world is looking at the moment, and the genuine possibility that we could be indoors for the next few weeks or months, many of us are going to have to find things to fill the time. And what better to watch than cartoons? To be honest, I haven't watched much animated content as of recently. I usually watch anime seasonally, but unfortunately I found the past 2 seasons quite disappointing. Nothing really has stood out to me beyond Vinland Saga. I'd always seen Castlevania pop up on my Netflix recommended list, but I'd never taken the opportunity to watch it. But I had heard a lot of good things. And with everything going on and the fact that I've got nothing to do with my life at the moment, I thought I'd give it a watch. And despite being almost 3 years late to the party, I believe the show was released in July 2017 at some point, I thought I might as well give my opinion. Much to my surprise, the show Castlevania is an absolute treat. First and foremost, it has a fantastic cast. Richard Armitage, Graham McTavish, and James Callis, of The Hobbit, Lucifer, and Battlestar Galactica fame respectively. It's really nice to see James Callis back in some work that I've actually seen. I thought he was great as Dr. Gaius Baltar in Battlestar Galactica, so it's great to see him here again. I think in the context of this show, it was really important that the English voice actors nailed their parts. I think this is important as English dubs are often widely derided by the anime community, and perhaps fans of animated content in general. I think it's especially important when it comes to Castlevania as well, as the creators and producers of the show have openly said that they've been inspired by anime. And you can clearly see that in the way the show is animated and drawn. So I feel like in terms of a stumbling block, the voice acting could have been a serious problem, but luckily they absolutely nailed it. On top of that, the show covers everything you would expect it to. It has gorgeous art, fluid animation, especially during the action sequences, and there's one during the final episode between 2 main characters which is absolutely beautifully animated. It also has stirring music as well. During the more dramatic moments involving church or the rise of Dracula, there's this soaring religious music that really sets the tone, especially with the overt references to heaven, hell, Satan, God, Jesus. It makes a very fitting inclusion. But I think what I liked most about the first season of Castlevania is how efficient the structure of the story is behind the scenes. I think there was only 4 episodes, each of which were 20 odd minutes. So in terms of a first season, they had an incredibly limited amount of time to set up a new show. I mean, there are some pilot episodes of famous shows, whether it be animated or non-animated, in fact, that go on for an hour, so that's potentially 3/4 of the runtime of Castlevania. But I think what's so clever about the structure of Castlevania is that within those 80 minutes, they managed to flesh out a genuinely compelling world. There's some great world building in terms of the Belmont House, the tragedy of Dracula, the nomadic speakers, and the various political/religious conflicts that emerge in the story. I genuinely do believe that this is shaping up to be a special show, but I can't say as I haven't seen the other 2 seasons yet. But I feel very confident that the other 2 seasons are going to live up to this standard of quality. And I'm really glad that this show exists. Because as much as I love animated shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, I've always wanted to see more mature animated Western stories. We don't really see that often, especially from big studios. We only really see them from dedicated cartoon channels, whether it be Cartoon Network or you get the occasional cartoon slot, whether it be on Saturday morning or on Disney XD, for example. I think partly the lack of animated content that appeals to wider demographics, say like Japanese anime does, is because of the cultural stereotypes surrounding cartoons, especially in the Anglosphere. Many people still see cartoons as a medium exclusively for children, and I think that's partly because the dominance of Disney, etc., etc., but also because I'm sure all of you have heard at some point, "Oh, you're an adult, why are you still watching cartoons?" So hopefully a show like Castlevania, which is very true to its anime-inspired roots, while still providing a compelling, mature story, will go some way in changing that stigma. I hope that Castlevania manages to break through the night and cast a new dawn for animated Western shows. Honestly, I'm way too proud of myself for that last line.